So we're in the visual design department at Guerrilla Games. The team here is responsible for all the architecture, the character design, the weapon design, design of the environments, etc.
The first thing I'd like to show you is the intruder. You've probably seen it in some of the trailers. It's the flying machine that drops the guys in. Back when we started designing this thing, we thought, what can we do with this? Make it interesting other than all of the other sci-fi vehicles. So we thought we'd just grab a pickup truck and a helicopter and try to combine that into something new and functional. We're always trying to create stuff that kind of looks as if it could work in reality. So combining stuff out of these two elements, we created these sketches, basic ideas, which evolved using landing gears and lots of mechanical stuff into this idea. It's basically a cargo carrier, has the troops on top. We had the guys in the mocap shoots jump off this thing, but apparently it was a bit too high. They were jumping off 4 meters. We kind of put some mechanics in so the thing could lower and actually drop the guys on the floor. And then started detailing that, adding more and more detail, and thus adding to the realism of the thing.
So how much time went into developing just this one vehicle?
Quite a bit of time. There's a design process, and then there's the feedback on the molding and the texture. I think there's a couple of weeks for the design, and then whilst molding there's still more information needed on bits and bolts and material expression. And then it looks something like this in the game. This is an example of one of the levels we worked on. Gameplay space, and we try to map that on things like this, Google Earth, spots, different cities. I think there's bits of Rome in there, bits of Baghdad, Lima, and Hong Kong, and lots of other cities. Just trying to use real streets, real places, so you get this kind of sense of real city. And once we're happy with that, we choke in the player route, the different areas gameplay had intended, and we create this grey mock-up. And then we start building the architecture to fill up these grey boxes. We develop all these different types of architecture and try to create our own architecture, showing as well as what the hostile weather does to the architecture. Well, there's a lot of layer on layer on layer, things being torn down, people trying to rebuild it. So there's a lot of weathering in the textures and in the construction of the buildings itself.
Guns. First thing we did this time was, as soon as we had like a short list of all the weapons that we were expecting to put in a game, so I made a big collection of all kinds of guns, and then we went out to the shooting range, took them apart, and got like high-speed camera, that kind of thing. So we had all the details on it, and made loads of high-quality photos. This is Killzone 1 August assault rifle. The first things we wanted to do is actually up-res our Killzone 1 guns, like the guns we really want to keep that were like distinguished. Beef them up, make them look better, now get them up to the next gen quality. We decided to put some iron sights in it, which we didn't have in the first one. Then I think next step was to use the secondary fire. So this is the shotgun version, and we had to take it off, and we still had to keep the same grip, so we started researching different shapes. These were the two final candidates. This became too simple in first person, so we ended up with that one, which is now the gun we have in our game.
Atari 2600 being played on an HDTV.
This is our team dedicated to cutscenes, so they're in charge of telling the story of the game. And Jonathan here is cutscene director.
So we're actually approaching the cutscenes for the game pretty similar to actual movies. We're starting off with an idea, we have a script writer on board. We then proceed to make storyboards, and from those storyboards make like a really rough 3D representation of those storyboards with little puppets just sliding down the screen. And when that's approved, we're going on to motion capture, which is used for almost any game at the moment in films. So that process, we use a pretty advanced form of motion capture. We use not only the body movement, but also the fingers and the facial. We also capture the final voice instead of dubbing it. We're basically treating it like an actual film set. And then it all gets implemented back into the game engine. So it's actually the real in-game engine that runs the cutscenes this time. It's not pre-rendered, which is great because it really sticks to the quality of the actual game. It stays exactly the same in the cutscenes. I think there's only a few people